The year was 1600, the eve of the Battle of Sekigahara, the defining moment in Japanese history. General Tokugawa Ieyasu sat alone in his command tent. Outside, the rain was falling on the armor of 40,000 men who were preparing to die. The noise was deafening. The clashing of steel, the sharpening of spears, the shouting of officers running drills in the mud. The pressure on Ieyasu was crushing. He was facing a coalition of Western clans that outnumbered him. If he made a single tactical error tomorrow, his head would be on a spike by sunset, and his family name would be erased from history. Most commanders in this situation would be frantic. They would be pacing the floor, shouting orders, reviewing maps for the 100th time, burning their energy on the what-ifs. But historians tell us Ieyasu did something strange. In the middle of the chaos, with the fate of the nation on his shoulders, he sat down. He closed his eyes. And for 1 hour, he did absolutely nothing. He wasn't sleeping. He wasn't planning. He was practicing what the Japanese call ma, the deliberate creation of emptiness. When he finally stood up, witnesses said his presence had changed. The frantic, nervous energy was gone. He was terrifyingly calm. He moved with a precision that frightened his own generals. The next day, he didn't just win the battle. He unified Japan and established a shogunate that would rule for over 260 years. We often think power comes from activity, from doing more, from grinding harder. We believe that if we stop moving, we will fall behind. But the Zen masters and the samurai knew a secret we have forgotten. Energy is not something you generate by drinking another cup of coffee or listening to a motivational speech. Energy is something you protect. And the reason you wake up tired, the reason you feel exhausted by 2 p.m., even if you haven't done physical labor, is not because you're doing too much work. It's because you are leaking energy. Let's look at the modern morning. You wake up, your eyes are barely open. Before your feet even hit the floor, you reach for your phone. The floodgates open. News, emails, Instagram, text messages, tragedies on the other side of the world, arguments in the comments section. In the first 10 minutes of being awake, you have consumed more information than a 17th century peasant consumed in an entire month. You haven't even brushed your teeth, and you have already leaked your most precious resource. Neuroscience calls this cognitive load. Your brain has a network called the default mode network. This is the part of your brain active when you aren't focusing on a specific task. It's responsible for daydreaming, worrying about the future, and replaying the past. When you bombard your brain with input immediately upon waking, you force this network into overdrive. You trigger a spike in cortisol, the stress hormone. You put your brain in a reactive state. You are telling your nervous system that you are under attack. A study from the University of California found that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back on track after a single interruption. Now imagine starting your day with 50 interruptions from your phone screen in rapid succession. You are starting your day in a massive cognitive deficit. You are driving a car with a leak in the gas tank, wondering why you can't reach your destination. The Zen monks call this monkey mind, or kapicita. The mind that jumps from branch to branch, screeching, never still, always leaking energy. If you want to stop the leak, you have to look at how the monks start their day. At 4 a.m. in the mountains of Kyoto, a bell rings. The monks wake up. They wash their faces with cold water, and then they enter the zendo, the meditation hall. For the next 45 minutes, they do nothing. This practice is called shikantaza. It translates literally to just sitting. This is not meditation as we often think of it in the West. They aren't visualizing success. They aren't repeating a mantra to feel happy. They aren't trying to fix themselves or optimize their performance. They are simply sitting. The great Zen Master Dōgen, who brought this practice from China to Japan in the 13th century, taught that the goal of shikantaza is mushotoku, no gaining mind. If you sit to relax, you are working. If you sit to get enlightened, you are working. If you sit to become a better person, you are leaking energy. You must just sit. Why? Imagine a glass of muddy water. If you want the water to become clear, you cannot stir it. You cannot force the mud down with a spoon. The more you try to fix the water, the muddier it becomes. You must leave it alone. You must let it sit. When the glass sits still, the mud settles naturally to the bottom and the water becomes transparent. Your mind is the same. By practicing shikantaza, the monk stops stirring the glass. He pulls all his energy back into the present moment. He seals the leaks. This concept extends beyond sitting. It moves into soji, cleaning. After sitting, the monks clean. They sweep the floors. They wipe the wood. But they don't clean to make the floor clean. The floor will get dirty again tomorrow. They clean to clean. When a monk sweeps the courtyard, he isn't thinking about lunch. He isn't thinking about the scripture he read yesterday. He is 100% with the broom. There is a famous Zen saying, "When you walk, just walk. When you eat, just eat." This is the ultimate energy protection, single tasking. Multitasking is a myth. Your brain cannot do two things at once. It just switches rapidly between them, and every switch costs energy. It's like turning a light switch on and off 1,000 times a minute. Eventually, the bulb burns out. The monk protects his energy by doing one thing at a time, fully. There is a concept in Japanese aesthetics called ma. It means gap, space, or pause. If you look at a traditional Japanese room, it is empty. If you look at a Japanese flower arrangement, the space between the flowers is as important as the flowers themselves. If you look at a Zen calligraphy scroll, the empty white paper is considered part of the painting. In the West, we are terrified of empty space. We fill our calendars, we fill our walls, we fill our silence with podcasts and music. We fill our ma with noise. We feel that if we aren't consuming, we are wasting time. But the monk understands that ma is where the energy recharges. Silence is not just the absence of noise. A 2013 study published in the journal Brain Structure and Function found that 2 hours of silence could actually create new cells in the hippocampus region of the brain, the area linked to learning, memory, and emotion. Silence literally heals the brain. The nothing the monks do every morning is not laziness. It is the creation of ma in their timeline. It is the deliberate insertion of a pause. Imagine your energy like a bow and arrow. Modern life is walking around with the bowstring pulled tight 24 hours a day. We are always ready to fire, always tense, always on edge. Eventually, the string loses its tension. It becomes weak. And when you finally need to shoot, the arrow falls flat. The morning ritual of doing nothing is the act of unstringing the bow. You relax the tension so that when you do need to fire, when you need to work, create, or solve a problem, your energy is potent. You don't need to live in a monastery to protect your energy. You don't need to shave your head or move to Kyoto. You just need to reclaim your morning from the noise. Here is the protocol to apply the monk's morning. First, the digital fast. For the first 30 minutes of your day, no screens, no inputs. Treat your attention like a fortress. If you open the gates to the world immediately, the enemy has already won. Do not let the world in until you are ready. Second, the shikantaza microdose. Find a chair, sit up straight, and for just 5 minutes, do nothing. Don't meditate, don't count breaths, just sit. Watch the dust motes in the light. Listen to the refrigerator hum. When your mind jumps to your to-do list, gently say, "Not now," and come back to the sitting. Let the mud settle. Third, single task your first act. Whether it's making coffee or brushing your teeth, do it with the intensity of a monk sweeping the temple. Feel the temperature of the water. Smell the beans. Be completely there. Start your day by generating presence, not reacting to absence. We live in a world that profits from your exhaustion. A tired mind is an obedient consumer. A tired mind scrolls. A tired mind buys. A tired mind is easy to control. To protect your energy is an act of rebellion. The samurai knew it. The monks know it. The power doesn't come from the noise. It comes from the silence between the notes. It comes from the ma. So tomorrow morning, before you do everything, try doing nothing. Protect your energy.